In this video, I'm going to talk about how to stay healthy over the Christmas period. Hi, I'm Katherine Maslen, Principal Naturopath and founder of Brisbane Natural Health. In this video, I wanted to give you some little tips to take away with you so over the Christmas period that you can kind of ride through it with a little bit less damage. So we all know it's Christmas time, we're eating lots of food, we're having some drinks with friends, but what can often happen is come January, we're feeling terrible. And this is where we get a rush of clients coming in looking at detoxes and trying to get back on track. So there are a few little things that you can do throughout that Christmas period to make sure that you ride through it a little bit more smoothly. So you kind of can come into January with a bit of energy rather than feeling really sluggish. So the first thing to look at is food, and there's two different ways of this. There's eating too much food, but also eating the wrong types of food. So we're going to eat more at Christmas. It's just kind of given. We're going to dinners. We're doing a lot of stuff. But remember that when you overeat, your body gets really sluggish and has a really hard time digesting that. So what I recommend is when you are eating, just try and be mindful of it. You might use a smaller plate or not fill your plate up so much the first time. If you are going back for seconds, I'd recommend just chilling for 5 or 10 minutes. So if you wait 10 minutes after you eat, you'll actually start to feel more full and you'll be more inclined to eat less. Whereas if you eat and eat and eat and eat, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, I'm way too full. So eating until you're about 70% full is a really good rule to make sure that you don't overeat and gorge around that time. So the other thing to have a look at is the type of food. So traditionally, kind of your Christmas dinners are relatively healthy. You've got roast meats, you've got vegetables, salads. It's quite healthy. It's just those little extra things that you'll want to avoid that can sometimes cause some problems. So what we do around Christmas time is we actually make our own applesauce. We make our own gravies, to make sure we're not having the stuff in the jar that's full of preservatives and colourings and so forth. And it's relatively easy to do. So for instance, with applesauce, all you need to do is peel some and core some apples, simmer them in some water till they're soft and then mash them up. Really easy. So the other thing that you want to have a look at is making sure that you're using meats that are free range or organic if possible to avoid toxins. And particularly if you're looking at your Christmas ham, really try and source one that's free range and nitrate free. So ham that isn't free range has a really poor fat balance. It's not very good for you. But if you're having ham that is full of nitrates, that's what kind of keeps the meat pink. It's actually a known carcinogen. Like, it's not very good for you at all. It's quite allergenic, particularly for people who do have any allergies or hay fever and that type of thing. So if you want to get a good free range ham, that's actually quite a healthy thing to do. Really lovely to have as part of your Christmas spread. Now, the other thing to look at is the sweet stuff and the desserts, because there's a lot of them around, of course. So my tip is to be a little bit prepared and actually cook or grab some things that are on the healthier side. So that way you've got some treats there, but they're not on the worst side of things. So you might eat a little bit of bad stuff, but say for instance if you have your own gluten-free, sugar-free Christmas cake, which I'll put a link to in the bottom of these video notes, it means that you're going to be eating some yummy cake and it's beautiful, but there's no gluten or sugar in it, so it's going to be a lot better for you. Making a nice big beautiful fruit salad, to have with your dessert spread is another way to do that. You can make your own cashew yogurt, using a little bit of honey and cashews in a blender, which is really beautiful. And if you Google cashew yogurt recipe, you'll be able to find someone to do that for sure. So all these little things that you can kind of do as a bit of pre-prep will help you to just get everything on track so that you do have some healthy foods to eat over Christmas. Now, the other thing briefly that we want to have a look at is drinking alcohol. So we all like to have a bit of a drink here or there. So what we want to make sure if you're drinking alcohol over Christmas is that it's the right type. So my preferred forms of alcohol are vodka or gin with fresh lime and soda, just because they're quite pure. The soda water that you're having in there or mineral water is going to be really good for hydrating and it's going to kind of water down that alcohol. The other side of it is you could have wine, and preferably red wine, because red wine is really high in resveratrol, which is a really great antioxidant. It's going to help you out. So when trying to curb alcohol intake, a really good trick is to actually alternate a glass of alcohol with a glass of water. So what that means is that not only are you keeping hydrated, but as you're having that water, you're giving your body a chance to process that alcohol that's already in your system. So you're not just constantly topping up, which is where we get really intoxicated and cause problems. So we also want to make sure that we're, eating lots of good food, keeping really hydrated, keeping our electrolytes up. So if you are planning to have a few drinks with friends, sometimes it's good to have a little bit of coconut water even before you go to bed, or have it ready for the morning, because that will help to rehydrate you as well. So look after yourself this silly season, just do what you can, have a great time. But if you can just implement some of these little tricks along the way, then hopefully you'll come into January, and when you turn up at our door, there won't be so much sluggishness and you'll be feeling a little bit better. I'm Katherine Maslen, founder of Brisbane Natural Health. Thanks for joining us. If you you have any questions at all or need any help with anything, feel free to call us on 07 3367 0337 or email info@brisbanenaturalhealth.com.au. Merry Christmas.